Welcome back to JF Commerce, your go-to channel for all things digital marketing, technology, and business insights. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and somewhat controversial topic: subliminal messaging in advertising. You've probably heard the stories. Messages flashed so quickly we don't consciously see them. Images designed to influence us without us even noticing. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but subliminal messaging has been a part of advertising lore for decades. But does it actually work? And if it does, is it even ethical? Let's separate the myths from the realities and find out the truth behind subliminal messaging in advertising. Section 1. What is subliminal messaging? To start, let's break down what subliminal messaging actually is. A subliminal message is a signal or message designed to pass below the normal limits of perception. It's a message that we don't consciously register, but that our brains supposedly pick up on, influencing our behavior, thoughts, or decisions in ways we're unaware of. In advertising, subliminal messaging is usually hidden in images, sounds, or even text that's presented so quickly or subtly that it bypasses our conscious awareness. Examples include flashing a word for a fraction of a second, hiding images in a background, or using background sounds that contain subliminal cues. The idea behind subliminal messaging is simple. By embedding hidden messages, advertisers could theoretically bypass the brain's critical thinking process and influence consumers' choices on a subconscious level. But does it really work? Section 2. The myths of subliminal messaging. Let's address some of the myths surrounding subliminal messaging. For years, people have been fascinated by the idea that advertisers might be able to control our thoughts and actions with hidden messages. But where did these myths come from? 1. The 1957 experiment. One of the most famous stories about subliminal messaging comes from a 1957 experiment conducted by market researcher James Vickery. He claimed to have flashed the phrases, "Drink Coca-Cola" and "Eat popcorn" during a movie screening. According to Vickery, sales of Coca-Cola and popcorn increased as a result, seemingly proving that subliminal messaging worked. But here's the truth. Vickery later admitted to fabricating the results. The experiment was a hoax, but by the time he confessed, the concept had already taken hold in the public's imagination. Since then, subliminal messaging has been portrayed in movies, books, and media as a kind of mind control tactic used by advertisers. 2. The power of hidden messages. Another common myth is that hidden messages in advertisements can influence people to buy products against their will. While it's true that certain visuals or sounds can create associations and influence our emotions, research has shown that subliminal messages alone aren't powerful enough to control people's behavior. At best, they can make someone feel a certain way, but they're not likely to lead to a direct purchase decision. 3. The idea of mind control. Some people believe that subliminal messaging is a form of mind control, allowing advertisers to manipulate our thoughts. But studies show that our minds aren't quite so easily influenced. To be effective, subliminal messages need to align with a person's existing desires or motivations. For example, a subliminal message promoting a cold drink on a hot day might have some impact because it aligns with the viewer's current state of mind. But in general, subliminal messages are not strong enough to override conscious decision-making. Section 3. The reality of subliminal messaging. While the myths are fascinating, what's the actual reality behind subliminal messaging? Can it be effective, and if so, how? 1. Minimal impact research shows that subliminal messages can have some effect, but the impact is generally minimal and short-lived. Studies have demonstrated that subliminal messages might influence small preferences or attitudes, but these effects are usually brief and subtle. Example: a study found that people who were subliminally shown the word "thirsty" were slightly more likely to choose a drink afterward. However, this effect only lasted a short time and didn't significantly influence long-term behavior. 2. Peripheral cues versus subliminal cues. Much of the effectiveness in advertising doesn't come from true subliminal messages, but from peripheral cues. These are cues that we do register consciously, but may not pay full attention to, like product placement in movies, color schemes, or background music that creates a specific mood. Unlike subliminal cues, these are consciously perceived, and they can be much more influential on our behavior and preferences. Example: product placements in movies or TV shows, where a character is seen drinking a specific brand of soda or using a certain phone, are often more effective than subliminal messages because they influence us in subtle yet noticeable ways. 3. Emotional appeal over subliminal messaging. One of the most effective aspects of advertising is its ability to create emotional appeal. Advertisers use images, colors, and sounds to evoke emotions that can positively influence how we feel about a brand. These techniques are not subliminal, as they're designed to be noticed by the viewer. However, they still influence perception in powerful ways and are more impactful than subliminal messaging alone. Section 4. Ethical considerations. The idea of subliminal messaging brings up several ethical questions. Even though subliminal messaging has limited effectiveness, the intention behind it is often to influence people without their knowledge. So, is it ethical? 1. Lack of consent. One of the biggest ethical concerns is that subliminal messaging is intended to bypass conscious awareness, meaning the viewer hasn't given explicit consent to be influenced in this way. In most countries, subliminal advertising is either restricted or banned because it's seen as an attempt to manipulate consumers without their knowledge. Example: the UK, Australia, and the United States have regulations that discourage or ban subliminal advertising for this very reason. Advertisers are expected to be transparent about their intentions and avoid deceptive practices. 2. Manipulation and trust. Another ethical concern is that subliminal messaging can erode trust between consumers and brands. If people feel that a brand is trying to manipulate them, it can create negative associations and damage the brand's reputation. Tip: to maintain trust, it's often better for brands to be transparent and use openly persuasive techniques rather than hidden messages. Building trust is far more effective than trying to influence customers covertly. Section 5. Alternatives to subliminal messaging. While subliminal messaging might not be the most effective or ethical option, there are many other strategies that marketers can use to influence customers in a positive and transparent way. 1. Emotional storytelling. Emotional storytelling is a powerful way to connect with your audience. By telling stories that evoke genuine emotions, you can create positive associations with your brand without the need for hidden messages. For example, many brands use heartfelt commercials that focus on family, friendship, or personal success. These stories create emotional resonance and help customers feel more connected to the brand. 2. Brand transparency. Another alternative is focusing on transparency. Today's consumers appreciate brands that are open and honest about their products, values, and intentions. By building trust, brands can create lasting relationships without the need for subliminal tactics. Example: brands like Patagonia emphasize their commitment to sustainability and environmental ethics. This transparency builds trust and loyalty with customers who share those values. 3. Use of peripheral cues. Instead of using subliminal messages, brands can rely on peripheral cues that subtly influence decisions. By choosing the right colors, music, and visuals, advertisers can create an environment that aligns with the brand's message and appeals to customers consciously. In conclusion, while subliminal messaging might sound intriguing, the truth is that it's not as effective as many people believe. The influence of subliminal messages is limited and often short-lived, and in most cases, consumers are more influenced by overt emotional appeals and transparency. Plus, the ethical concerns around subliminal messaging make it a questionable choice for marketers. If you're a marketer looking to build strong, lasting relationships with your audience, focus on clear, ethical strategies that communicate your brand's value. Emotional storytelling, brand transparency, and carefully chosen peripheral cues can be far more effective and will help build trust with your customers over time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell for more insights on marketing, advertising, and business strategy. Until next time, keep your marketing authentic.